like to welcome another colleague of ours, Ludmila Stratuta. She is the HR director of the Purcari Wineries company. This is the leading winery company of Moldova and one of our partner and sponsor of the event. Ludmila has an exceptional experience in HR processes and HR management over 10 years. She, at the moment, is leading the HR team in Purcari. And before that, she acquired a great experience in international companies as well as local companies in different industries, in tobacco industry, in telecommunication industry. And I'm really happy to welcome Ludmila. Ludmila?
Hi, Svetlana. Thank you for your kind introduction. I'm really glad to be here, and using this platform, I would like to thank all the AmCham team for this amazing opportunity, the opportunity to speak and to share my point of view on one of an important topic such as HR transformation, with an accent on shifting demographics.
Great.
Yes, if it's okay, I would like to begin my presentation.
Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, I need to mention that although this is not a new subject on our agenda, I mean on our HR agenda, and transformation of workplace and other talent and culture shift we face right now are not anymore a future trend. They are happening right now. We have to admit that the disruptive force of COVID-19 pandemic has caused existing trends to accelerate, of course, and one of the biggest changes from my perspective is the shifting and transformation of workplace demographics. First of all, I would like to begin with sharing with you some results of a global study, the most recent global study executed by BCG, the network and headhunters, about the future of work and how pandemic influenced the work format or the work model. And here I will begin by stating some highlights, some main points from this study. First of all, we see that there is a shift in employees' attitudes regarding relocation. The general interest in relocating for a career development in another country has dropped considerably. This means that about 50% of respondents from 109 participating countries in this study indicated their readiness to relocate. But this indicator is far lower than the one stated in 2014 and 2018 in the same study, where the rates were about 64% and respectively 57%. The reason behind this might be quite different, but mainly it refers to the fact that recently we were introduced to distance working as a new format of work. And on the other hand, this is driven by the restrictive migration policy introduced due to pandemic. At the same time, COVID or coronavirus situations happens to become an important factor in decision whether to relocate or not in a country. It feels that the countries that were stated as the most attractive are the countries with lower infection rate also. Such countries are Canada, Japan, Australia, and more recently in this list were included Singapore and New Zealand. In addition to all that, remote working becomes an important driver for development of virtual career. What do I mean by saying this? mostly 57% of respondents said they would prefer or would be interested in working in a distance in an international company, and 71% of them, mostly from IT industry, indicated even that they are okay to accept a job in a company with no physical presence in their location. So far, let's see how other indicators resulted from the study. And we are talking here about remote work, because remote work is not going anywhere. It has become already our new reality. And so it comes that 89% of respondents said they would rather prefer remote work or flexible work environment. The majority would say that they would prefer hybrid work models. We do observe also a refocus on rather short-term benefits and advantages from employees rather than long-term benefits and advantages. What this means? It means that, that employees currently value more relationship, work-life balance, relationship with management, salary, and while professional development and learning moved to the second place. Important also is to state that we notice a shift in attitude regarding diversity and environment. So almost 70% of respondents noted that ethnocultural diversity and climate issues are more important for them. This means that they would rather not analyze or not accept a job from a company that is not committed to global sustainability objectives and doesn't have on their agenda KPIs such as climate change and other global important initiatives. Just to make the shift to our local market, I would like to speak a little bit or to present a little bit the evolution of workplace in Moldova. And for this, in order to give you valuable information, I asked my colleagues, my partners from Rabota.md, that is the biggest job search platform in Republic of Moldova, to share with me some insightful data. Regarding the dynamic of demand and offer on our market during the crisis period. So let's see how it looks. Well, on this graphic, you see very clearly that evolution of local job offers during crisis have been acting in decrease or have been dropping down in 2020. And this is mainly caused by the pandemic. We're talking about our first lockdown. As you can see on the graph, it is referred to the period of April. And after that, the companies re-enter the market and re-enter in force because the situation is stabilizing. And even we can see an increasing trend. So companies continue to create new job opportunities and continue to search for new talents. This trend is apparently on track in 2021 also, because here stated with the in red color, you can see a significant increase of local job offers during crisis. By dynamic of demand, I mean the total vacancies posted on the platform during the reference period. Let's see on the other side how the candidates' activity during crisis looks like. And here you can see a slightly different situation. about the candidate's behavior, which I mean counted as number of CVs uploaded on the platform. We see an increased activity in 2020, right in the pandemic time, right when we were supposed to be in the lockdown, I mean, period from April until July, where the number of applications on the site were significantly higher than the other reference periods. Of course, this can be or may be due to job losses caused by the pandemic, or also caused by the return of several citizens in the country and that were in the situation to search for a job. However, 2021, and you can see that the trend begins at the end of 2020, maintains the trend of decreasing, and candidates' activity somehow is very reduced and continues to be reduced on the platform. Finally, this means that right now employees are facing issues on closing vacancies and are forced to fight for talent on the market. Even so, I believe employers will need to review their offers in order to be more competitive on market and competitive in seeking the best talents. Also, I would like to share with you some insights about Moldova demographics, and not only, and some important insights about global demographic changes. And here, all I can say is that the global prognosis of a generation breakdown is becoming more real right now. This is because the young population is constantly in decline. Even if it is considered to be the main cohort or the biggest cohort of society annually, the indicators show that young population registers a significant drop down. In Moldova, thus, in the last years, comparative 2021 with 2017, the number of people aged 30-34 reduced with 6.7%, and the number of people aged 20-24 reduced with 31.6%. Also, it's important to mention that the mortality rate increased significantly, amounting right now 15.4% compared to 30.6%. All this means that globally we register a so-called aging population due to rising life expectancy, of course, and not secondary, the declining birth rate. This means, alongside with innovation in technology, could cause some pretty challenging times for employers, for people, and of course for governments. It is estimated that by 2030, hyper-connected, tech-savvy millennials will make up 40% of the workforce, and it is already known that about 20-30% of working age population in Europe and the United States are engaged in some kind of independent work. What is important for employees is to understand what are the career drivers, work style, and what drives each generation, and what are the values they pursue in order to adapt the HR practices and the management practices, and to create the perfect climate context, organizational context, to ensure performance and a happy environment. In a new Korn Ferry study, latest Korn Ferry study, it is mentioned that the biggest issue is not actually the fact that robots will take most of the jobs, as it is well discussed. But actually the problem is, and the issue is, that we do not have enough people to take those jobs. And for example, I would like here to talk about the situation in the United States, where The majority of baby boomers will have moved from workplace by 2030 and will be replaced by millennials and Generation Z. But these new generations apparently not had the time and learning for taking on many of high skills jobs behind. So what's important here for every organization, and what the savviest organizations do is to take the onus of training talent internally, by themselves. So increasing the hiring people and hiring straight out from school, perhaps. Also, a good strategy will be here to instill a culture of continuous learning and training. Forward-looking organizations are shifting also their approach in order to better understand the workforce attitude and values. This is exactly what we need all to do right now. As you can see on this slide, the demographic changes, demographic generation report will change dramatically, so that by 2025, boomers will represent only 5% of workforce on a global level, and Generation E with Generation Z will be the most part of it. So just to sum it up, why it is important to understand shifting demographics and how it impacts on a company levels, on a management levels, and how companies and HR, first of all, needs to prepare for it. Well, first of all, companies need to understand that it will amplify the skill scarcity. What means that employees will need to look both to reskill, to refine the list of soft skills, to add new skills to their jobs, because such as soft skills such as creativity, leadership, collaboration will be on high demand. Also, we need to consider social polarization and need to speak up, because diversity and inclusion initiatives are the key to recovering growth. Employees and customers are demanding right now that companies take an official stand on climate change and other critical global issues. And this is very, very discussed on a global level. Also, I've already mentioned that, I've already mentioned that remote work has become mainstream. The format 9 to 5 is not the only option anymore, so the companies will need to reconsider and create more on-demand workforce, offer hybrid work models, and gig economy models, accepting part-time employees and being able to deliver on contract workers. Last but not least, it is important to mention that the gender gap is persistent, and as women on a global level are disproportionately affected by both social and economical crises due to COVID, and overrepresented job losses across industries such as retail, hospitality, leisure. Companies have here, and employers can find here great opportunities for upskilling and reskilling them in order to prepare for some of the future jobs. So this has been said. I need to mention that shifting demographics, it is an important factor that needs to be considered among all the others that includes in HR transformation. And an important role, as it was already mentioned before, makes the alignment between top management vision and the market. And HR needs to be very accurate and very connected to social data with analytics, and to understand how better to recognize the risks and how to define plans of management in order to ensure the success. This has been from my side. Svetlana, if there are any questions, I would like to answer to them.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ludmila. Very interesting information. It's important for all of us to follow these trends worldwide and locally also. And in this regard, I would like to ask you to share with us how your organization has been affected in this period, focused on this gender and demographic subject. And what is your experience? What works better in integration the new generations in currently existing already teams, organizations with previous generations? And how we can support to make it more smooth, to align the communication platform between themselves so that the adoption of the organization culture, values for the newcomers could be more easy.
Okay. Yes, thank you for the question. Well, first of all, I would like to, I just remembered the statement of Peter Drucker, I believe, culture eats strategy at breakfast. I don't know if you heard it, but it's perfect set, because when we speak about any change or any transformation, we need to understand that it is very, very important to create that culture, that eternal culture, that will help get on board all the people, all the employees, in order to ensure that you have success in your strategic plan. And this means, right in the context of pandemic and emerging changes regarding workforce and generations shift, that employers need to focus on investing on skills development, and needs to review the roles, and needs to understand perfectly what is the generation split within the organization, in order to identify and allocate the best or the proper solutions for people development according to their age, of course. I can say that this period did not affect us dramatically, because we were focused on maintaining a healthy and secure atmosphere and within the organization, so that we were very connected to our people, and this resulted in loyalty. This resulted in people remaining with us, and we helped them cope with the situation. And I think this is what every employer needs to do right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ludmila. Thank you for accepting to be with us today.
Thank you very much, Svetlana.